I was an ordinary guy, the kind of person you'd forget in a crowd. Average job, average apartment, average life. So when I came home from work one evening to find a strange, glowing figure sitting calmly in my living room, I did what any sane person would do. I froze. The woman turned her head toward me, her silver blue skin shimmering faintly under my cheap ceiling light. Her eyes, violet and glowing softly, watched me with an intensity that made my knees weak. She wore something like armor, futuristic and sleek, with glowing patterns that pulsed gently. "You are Ethan Ralston," she said. Her voice wasn't human, soft, melodic, but layered, as if multiple tones spoke at once. I dropped my keys. "Who, what, how did you get in here?" "I came for you," she said simply, standing gracefully. "For me?" My voice cracked. "I think you have the wrong guy. I'm nobody." Her expression softened. "No, you are far more important than you realize." I wanted to run. Every part of my brain screamed at me to bolt for the door, but my feet were glued to the spot. "Who are you?" I managed. She tilted her head slightly, as if deciding how much to tell me. "My name is Serai. I am not of your world. I am Illyrian." "Illyrian?" I echoed dumbly. "Like alien?" "Yes." She took a step closer, and I flinched back. "I do not wish you harm, Ethan. I have traveled across the stars to find you." My head spun. I pressed myself against the wall, desperate to process what was happening. "Why? Why me? What do you want?" Serai looked at me with something like sorrow in her glowing violet eyes. "To save you." I sat down after that, partly because my legs wouldn't hold me anymore, and partly because Sarai's calm demeanor didn't seem threatening. She told me her story, her voice as steady as the hum of her glowing armor. Her people, the Illyrians, were advanced beings who had watched Earth for centuries. They believed in non-interference, but Serai had broken that rule for me. "Why?" I kept asking. "Why me?" Serai hesitated, as though she feared the answer. Finally, she said, "Because your existence matters to the universe. And because you saved my life." I blinked. "What? I don't even know you." "Not yet," she said quietly. Serai explained that time among the Illyrians was not linear. It was fluid, like an ocean, with ripples that could move backward and forward. To me, she was a stranger, but in her timeline, her future, I would save her life. "Think of it as a debt," she said. "One that I am here to repay before it is even owed." I laughed nervously, trying to make sense of it all. "So let me get this straight. In the future, I somehow save you, and now you've come back to Earth to what? Save me first?" "Yes." "From what?" Her eyes darkened. "From them." I didn't get to ask who they were because at that moment, the ground shook. The walls of my apartment rattled, and a strange, low hum vibrated in my chest. Sarai's posture stiffened. "They are here." "What? Who's here?" I shouted, stumbling to my feet. Before Serai could answer, a sound like splitting metal tore through the air, and the windows shattered. Dark figures dropped through the openings, landing silently in my living room. They looked human, but wrong, unnaturally tall and thin, their eyes glowing red. Serai moved before I could react, activating something on her wrist. A blade of light, pure, brilliant energy, extended from her armor, humming sharply as she spun to face the intruders. "Stay behind me," she ordered. I didn't argue. The fight was chaos. Serai moved like nothing I'd ever seen. Fast, fluid, her energy blades slicing through the intruders like they were made of smoke. The red-eyed creatures fired weapons that crackled with dark energy, shattering furniture and scorching walls. I ducked behind my couch, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. When the last figure fell, Serai turned to me, her glowing armor flickering. "We must leave. Now." "Who were they?" I gasped. The Drakari, she said grimly. Hunters of timelines. They know what you will do in the future, and they want to erase you before you can act. I stared at her, my mind spinning. You're saying aliens want to kill me because of something I haven't done yet? Yes. This is insane, I muttered. It is reality, she replied. Serai didn't give me a choice. She grabbed my hand, and the next thing I knew, we were running through the alleyways of my city, the night alive with the hum of something terrible overhead. I looked up to see dark ships hovering in the sky, their shapes like shadows given form. Serai led me to an abandoned lot, where a small craft sat hidden under camouflage tech. Get in, she said. I hesitated. Where are we going? To safety. To prepare you for what's coming. I looked back toward the city, the only life I had ever known, and then at Serai, whose violet eyes held a promise I couldn't quite understand. Finally, I climbed in. The ship lifted off, leaving Earth behind. From orbit, the planet looked so small, so fragile. I stared at it, a knot in my chest. What happens now? Serai sat beside me, her glowing armor dimming as she relaxed. Now, I teach you who you are, what you're capable of. You are not ordinary, Ethan Ralston. I'm pretty sure I am, I muttered. She smiled faintly. Not to me, not to the universe. What do I do in the future that's so important? I asked. Serai looked out the window at the stars, her voice soft. You saved worlds, Ethan. And you saved me. I didn't know how to respond to that. I just sat there, feeling small and overwhelmed. But as the stars stretched before us, a spark of determination stirred inside me. Maybe Serai was right. Maybe my story was bigger than I thought. And maybe, just maybe, I was ready to find out why.